Hey guys, welcome back to the Loaded Dice podcast for 2016. My name is Andrew, and my co-host for this evening and every evening, because I seriously can't fucking give this guy away, is Rob.
Yeah, well, I'm back. You didn't manage to get rid of me over the Christmas New Year period, despite the fact of the copious amounts of alcohol we consumed, but we're still here.
That's it, man. That's it. Rob, you drinking anything tonight?
No, man, I've had a shit day at work. It is definitely a coffee night for me, because I have a lot more shit to do tonight before I go to bed.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I'm actually just drinking water out of an awesome Star Wars bottle, because I have to wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Listen, if you can't even get to like beer, just don't even drink anything at all. Just dehydrate, all right?
No, I'm starting back at the business breakfast that I go to tomorrow after like a month and a half off from it. So that's like a 4:35 a.m. wake up to be in the city at like 6 a.m., which is fucking insane. But you know, the shit you do for business.
That's what you got to do, man. That's what you got to do.
That's fucking it, man. That's fucking it. So anyway, guys, welcome back. As we said, we were taking some time off sort of over Christmas, New Year, and through January to just try and get our shit in order. As far as I'm concerned, we actually, I don't know, life just got even more fucking crazy, at least on my side of things. So what about you, Rob? How was your life for the last month or so?
Oh, fucking hell, man. Well, just like you, man, big changes, you know. Things either went completely right angle or decided to take like a 180-degree turn and run into something. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting year for 2016.
That's it, man. I'm really, really pumped. I guess the big news, and I know I kind of spoiled this a little bit on the podcast page, is I actually bought a house in the last couple of weeks. And it's a big enough house that I'm going to have a recording studio as well as a full 100% of the time set up games room, probably with a lock on the door so the wife can't get in.
You know she's going to make her way in there anyway, you know that.
Oh, yeah, she'll just like sledgehammer through the wall or something. You know, like Kool-Aid Man. The Kool-Aid Man that comes charging through the wall?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, Kool-Aid guy.
It's stuff, man.
Oh man, go and look up the Kool-Aid jug guy that like bursts through walls. Anyway, so pretty big news because it's going to mean that the big one for a lot of people that have been listening to us for a while is our sound quality can seriously just go up and down depending on how we're recording. So sometimes if we're recording next to each other at my house, it could be ridiculously good, ridiculously bad, depending on what room we're in. Currently, we're Google outing, so it's kind of a little bit better because we've both got microphones going, but then you get the weird crossover that Google Hangouts does every so often. So hopefully we should eliminate all of those issues. We can actually, I'll have room for a proper sound desk, and we can get that sorted out. So, you know, that's only, like 2 years after we started this thing?
Yeah, pretty much. We're like super pumped. As I was saying before, like again, this is the point where we're going to up the quality, make it a real podcast, not just this one where we kind of turn up every 2 weeks to a month, depending on what we're actually doing, and then just kind of talk shit for 3 hours.
I was just going to say that 2 weeks. Jesus, man, you're already setting us up for failure.
Oh man, come on, man. Look, we're going to try and like just some kind of schedule. Like, I mean, look, everyone knows like I'm in public health, so like schedules just don't matter anymore after about 2 days.
Yeah, isn't that a scary thought, guys? Robert is in charge of, like, your health and the ability for you guys to continue receiving medical care when needed. So as far as I'm concerned, just rub some fucking dirt on it and just get over it, you crybaby, because, Jesus Christ, the system's not going to help you.
Pretty much. Like, when you come in, they're like, oh, Rob will see you now. But I see him, and I'm like, yeah, I want a coffee break for the next hour, so you can just sit there and wait.
Yeah, you make Dr. Nick look pretty good, man.
Yeah, man.
So that's kind of my really big news from the last couple of weeks. And the other awesome thing is it means that if we've got a gaming area set up 24/7, we can actually start getting into things like video battle reports, whole lot of YouTube stuff, because it means I can get the cameras set up properly that I've got here. I've got some GoPros and a few other sort of things like that. We can set that all up, get people in and gaming. It's not sort of a case of, it takes half an hour to set stuff up, an hour to break it down and put it all away, and then, we're playing in a garage with a bloody fluoro tube out of a fish tank or something crazy like that. Yeah, rental properties, they're a lot of fun. So yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. As well as hopefully it should mean I've got a bit more time to hobby and like more room to hobby, which is really cool. So hopefully I'll get some more stuff sort of smashed out instead of what's going on at the moment, which is the same sort of idea. Um, if I want to airbrush, I've got to be able to put aside 2 hours to get it out, clean it, set everything up, move cars in and out of garages. Um, airbrush for a bit, then pack everything away and put it all away. So it'll be nice to have just a sorted area 24/7 for airbrushing and hobby sort of stuff. And it also means that, you, Rob, and other people can sort of come over and hang out and hobby and do all that sort of cool stuff that we used to.
Yeah, like, yeah, well, come on, like this is just simply the miserable facts of life, isn't it? That sooner or later, like your garage and your house just becomes cluttered with either shit you own, shit your significant other owns, and you kind of just have to try and like make the hobby fit around what's going on. But now, like you moving into a house, and even me moving out in only 2 months' time, we're going to have room to actually set things up and actually have a permanent base to actually game in, rather than being like, okay, so today I need the table clean, I need this moved out here, I need to get everything up here, set it up. Hopefully the girlfriend, in your case the wife, doesn't come home in the meantime, lose her mind and start bothering you about why is this guy over here and why are you rolling that dice, etc.
Yeah, it was actually pretty funny. During the week, I was sort of talking to a few listeners that got in contact with us, and I think it was Ben that sent us a message, and one of the things he asked us about was he's got a newborn, and he sort of wanted some tips on hobbying with a newborn, which I sort of said you and I can't really help out with because we don't have kids. But I sort of pointed him in the direction. I think it was the Independent Characters about, oh God, probably 18 months ago, did a full episode. It was like 3 hours, and they like interviewed all their own kids and like interviewed their wives and stuff. It was like, how has the hobby affected you as a kid? And it was like, show me on the Space Marine like where I neglected you, and shit like that. So I sort of pointed him in that direction.
You know what he needs to do? Like at night when his kid's like, going to sleep, he needs to pull out like the next Horace Heresy novel and just start reading it.
Yeah, well, like I know that's what a lot of guys have sort of done when like real life gets in the way, and I've even done it in the past. Like I've been hobbying now. God, how long have I been hobbying for now? 23 years or something like that, 22, 23 years. And there's been periods where I've gone, a long time without playing a game or painting a model. But I've always had the codexes around. I've always had the books around. I've always kept up with them so that there's been a connection. Like I cannot off the top of my head think of any point during that 23 years where I wasn't in some way, shape or form connected to the community and the hobby through online forums and Facebook in the last probably 5-6 years. Before then, there were things like Daka Daka, Warseer, Portent before those. And then going back before that, we had the GW forums. Like there was always something there to keep you going in the hobby, which I think is something that's...
Sorry, man, keep going.
No, what were you going to say?
I can think I'm pretty much the same. Like I've gone roughly probably about the same as you. But I can remember a period in time where I think I put my armies away for probably a solid 2 or 3 years and actually did not play a single game. I think it was that period sort of like at the beginning of say 4th and sort of like midway through 5th sort of thing, where I kind of just put my armies away and all I did was either just read material, go through the internet, talk to people, but I never actually picked up dice and actually played a game.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. I think 5th was kind of when was probably the last time I sort of paused everything game-wise and painting-wise. And that was just because of, what was going on in like people's lives. And at that point we had a gaming group of like maybe 4 or 5 guys and a lot of other people sort of stopped at the same time. And that coincided, I can't remember, but I think that coincided with like a lot of the Sydney scene, especially for 40K, starting to sort of peter out. A lot of games clubs that had been around the place shut down. Games Workshop wasn't like, you could still, I guess, go and have a game on a Thursday night, but like I think I was working I was at uni and was working like 3 jobs at the time, so getting out on a weeknight wasn't really an option. Good games didn't really exist yet, I don't think, going back that far.
It was like in its infant stages sort of thing.
Yeah, like I remember during that time, about the only thing I managed for games was I went for a period of about 3 months when Tin Soldier in the city, they started doing like games nights or something, and I probably went every week for about 3 months, and it was awesome. And then I don't know, just stopped going one, just stopped going for some reason, and
By the end
yeah,
of the
just
day.
sort of everything sort of fell off. But you know, like that's a bit sort of a bit of a downer sort of discussion, I guess, to start off the year. I want to be a bit more positive.
All right, so yeah, do you want to kick it off with what's going to be new this year for us? You've already touched on the battle reports,
Yeah,
but I
so
think you've been working on something big.
yeah, so the other really big thing that we've got coming out is a website. We've never had a website in sort of close to 2 years of podcasting. We've only ever relied on the Facebook page, but we sort of decided if we're going to have dedicated hobby space available to us 24/7, it means we can do things like photo battle reports for people that don't want to watch YouTube videos. We can do work in progresses, blog posts, and all of that sort of thing. And we always said that we're doing this not for the fame and the fortune, because there's very little of that involved.
Yeah, there's very little fame and fortune involved in little miniature soldiers being pushed around a table and throwing dice regarding
That's
who
it.
moves
There's
where, who
no
dies.
yeah. There's definitely no BJs involved in it. Nobody's winning BJs out of this. Um, So pretty much the only reason we do this is to grow the community and get to know people and look at other people's awesome toy soldiers. So we kind of want to grow the community through, blog posts and, getting discussions going that are a little bit, I guess, what's probably the word for it? I don't, a bit more considerable than like a Facebook post just saying, hey, check out this new model that's like been spoiled or whatever's going on. We can, have a bit more of a discussion come through, and we're definitely looking for people out there in the community to maybe contribute some blog posts as well. It doesn't have to be long. It can be on, hobby stuff. It can be on tactics. It can be on list building things. Sky's sort of the limit as long as it's about hobby.
Yeah, it can pretty much just be what's on your mind at this point. In that, Andrew, you're right. Like, if you want to write an article on what's the new big thing, or here's my take on, like, here's a squad that no one ever takes. Here's my take on them and how they should actually be played. And maybe you'll start seeing them. Like, you can just write it in, add something to it, and we'll toss it up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I know I've already talked to a couple of guys about providing some blog posts. If you've been on the Facebook in the last couple of days, there's been some photos I threw up from a really nice guy over the other side of the world, David. So I put his Titan, his work in progress Reaver Titan up, as well as some Death Guard Contemptors he's been working on, which are awesome, and just sort of said to him, look, mate, can you do us an article on your weathering techniques and maybe a few other things in there. And he was pretty happy to do that. He used to be a contributor over at Daka Daka. So he's going to throw us an article every so often, and there's a few other guys I've been sort of, kicking the can around with and just sort of seeing what's out there. But I think it'll be really good, because one of the things that I've sort of noticed in probably the last 2 to 3 years is a lot of the community's sort of done that migration from forums to Facebook. And Facebook's great. Facebook is kind of like, the way I say it is, Facebook's like cocaine. Okay? Like, it's a small amount really fast and it hits you really hard. Like, it's but if you do too much of it, it like melts your nose off your face. So it's not good for sort of doing a series of articles or ongoing works in progress, because it's so quickly recycled and turned over. Whereas I see like forums where things like, I don't know, like LSD, it's like a longer trip. There's like a spirit guide there, maybe like some sort of platypus crossed with a badger or something, and he's like leading you around the place. But that's fallen out of favor now, so there needs to be some sort of middle ground, which I see as a website. We can post them over to Facebook.
So adding on to your drug analogy, what you're actually saying is Facebook is the super expensive hobby that once you've like given your soul, even the smallest bit to it, Facebook has you forever. And of course, we all know that LSD is you don't know what you'll see. You might see a unicorn riding a badger for all you know, but you might see the most screwed up stuff. So what you're actually saying is you might get something good, or you might get 4chan, in other words.
Yeah, and it's also, I guess I'm talking about like Facebook's just that really fast sort of, you can pull it out of your pocket at at a red light and like go, oh, holy crap, that's a gorgeous photo. And then you like lock your phone, put it away, and then you don't look at Facebook again for another hour. And it's completely changed. Whereas forums, you might put something up and somebody might comment on it, or they might update a work in progress thread once a month. But you could keep track of things a little bit easier on forums.
Yeah.
So we're just looking for something.
Have you ever like gone onto Facebook and you've opened up, you've seen something, and you're like, oh, that looks really cool. Then you try and find it later with having no reference to what it was, or like who put it up or something. You're just flicking through Facebook and you're just going, where is it?
Yeah, no, it's fucking ridiculous. And if we can sort of digress for 2 seconds, because that's what we're very well known for, is these random tangents. I was working on some, and this I guess runs into what we've been up to in the hobby as well, which is pretty cool. I was working on some Alpha Legion Seekers the other night because I'm not a big fan of the new Headhunters. The Bolters are awesome, but we'll talk about that later as well. So I was building some Seekers up, and I thought, oh, look, I'll chuck up a work in progress on the Facebook page. Now, because we're moderating the page, we get to see like how many people have viewed the photos, like how many people have viewed it, how many people engage with it, and so on and so forth. So this post that went up, which was a photo of a model I was building, along with another teaser shot of the Headhunters, I think it got something like, in the first 24 hours, it got something like 78 views. Now, to put that into perspective with you, some of our posts, like our sort of general posts that are photos, shots from open days, new miniatures that are coming out, that sort of stuff, they might get something like 14 or 15,000 views, whereas this got like 60 or 70 views in 24 hours. And I was having a chat with somebody the other day that's like, their job is to boost marketing potential of Facebook pages and all that sort of crap. And sort of says, what's the deal? Why are some things like that? Why are other things like this over here? And he basically said it's the algorithm, and there are certain things you can do to, basically boost your post up. The most obvious one is to pay to have your post boosted, which we don't like. Like, I don't think we've ever done that with a post.
I think we did like once or something when we were doing. Did we boost the Primark contest?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think we've done it for some of the contests, and I think you're right, the Primark comp, we boosted that just so that, more people would have a chance to sort of get in on that. But, it's a bit crazy, so it's a bit like Facebook's just hit and miss. People have got to be online looking at the right sort of stuff for Facebook to go, oh, we're going to chuck this into your newsfeed at this point. And if you're like me, like I've liked something like 1,500 pages and groups, like I can't fit everything in my newsfeed. So I favorite stuff that I like and, go from there. But you're right. You can't go back and find stuff. You really have to like comment on something to be able to find it again. And then you're going through your notifications. And so long story short, we thought that, a website that we could cross over stuff onto Facebook would probably be a fairly good idea as a repository just for articles and whatnot. So, Rob, what have you been up to in the hobby recently? We've had a month since we last talked, so I'm guessing you might have painted like half an orc by this time?
Yeah, well, I actually haven't painted everything. If you can actually hear me currently, I am currently indulging in the sweet sound of applying super glue to Mark III bodies currently.
So if you start mumbling in a second, it's just because you've glued your lips together, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So my delivery of Marines arrived, so I'm currently assembling them, hopefully in preparation for playing at the Bayalonian incidents later this month. But again, if I don't play, I'm not, as I said to you, like today, I'm not going to be like too frustrated and too upset about it. In that, I'll just complete TO and I'll do photos and I'll do all the bookkeeping, etc., etc., etc. But no, like I've just been preparing just Marines and stuff like that. Really, for this, it's just been hectic over this period that I've just barely had any time to look at it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it was supposed to be a cruisy month, January, but it's been super, super busy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like next week, as I said to you, Andrew, like I was in the whereas we drove home today, like I'll be going on leave the end of this week. I'm going down to Milton Ulladulla pretty much to spend a week just like laying around doing absolutely nothing. I'm just going to take all my gear with me. Even the girlfriend, when I said to her, like, she said, oh, well, we've got nothing to do. I'm just going to read a book. And I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, why don't you bring all your miniatures with you on the sale? I'm like, oh, it's a holiday. I want to go sit in the sun, go and relax, drink some beers, and just unwind. She's like, Well, I'm not going to be doing anything, so you can just paint your little plastic soldiers.
Did
Like,
you
yeah,
correct her? Did you correct her and tell her they were resin and then dump her?
they're resin and they are high quality, high class miniatures from a well respected British manufacturer. So of course they've got to be high quality. Like, when have you ever not owned a Jaguar and they're not been high quality?
And I swear to God, it just sounded like you were like doing an advert for British hookers. High class British escorts, ladies waiting to fulfill your every desire.
Shine your boots, Governor. No, so I'm just currently assembling miniatures and things like that. So no, it's been like, hasn't been like too crazy and chaotic. Again, Christmas is just a typical, shitty time of the year. So yeah, that's pretty much been me. Again, hopefully to do a lot more in the next week and a bit because work's sort of reaching its pinnacle at this point. And yeah, I'll just be settling back into the long haul. So hopefully getting a lot more done about the next week and a bit. But I'll keep you posted. I'll probably if I start getting things done down there, I'll start throwing up work in progress photos on the Facebook page. So people can just be like, Rob's actually painted something. It's like, no, it's just him in the spray can.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. No, that's looking forward to seeing how you go with your Iron Warriors there.
Come on, as I was taking you in the car, as I said, black, silver, bit of bronze around the side, maybe paint the eye lenses like green or red, and done.
Yeah, like why not? Like I think we've said it here before. There is definitely a quality to having things done. Now, I'm not talking about like just upending guys into paint pots, but there's definitely something to be said for. Well, think about it this way. I know that when because it took you for fucking ever to come up with which Legion you were going to play, and one of the biggest concerns that you had was that you don't have a ton of time to hobby, to paint, and things like that. So you went, okay, I want something that is an easy scheme, easy to repeat across, 30 or 40 power armored bodies and a few tanks, but also something that you can do fairly quickly, fairly easily, and still have it look good on a tabletop. And I think Iron Warriors are pretty much perfect for that.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, the thing was like I was tossing up between was, I was going Iron Warriors, Iron Hands, Iron Warriors, Iron Hands, Iron Warriors, Iron Hands, and I'm like Iron Hands are fun, but I kind of like really enjoy the Iron Warriors sort of aesthetic. I enjoy like the legionary mindset sort of thing. Like Perturabo is my go-to guy. Like it's all faction figures. Like if it requires 30,000 bolt shells and 500 guys to take this fortress, that's how it works, man. We've got the spreadsheets. His one just involves like guys. Mine just involves numbers and people's records.
Yeah, exactly. You're just both big fat fucking jerks.
super jaded. We've got that guy who, just comes in. He's always a pretty boy, always dancing around. I've just got to hit him with the Warhound Titan.
That's it. I heard from your boss that in your last performance review, you threatened her with a miniature Warhound Titan.
That's it, man. The one I assembled, was ready to be painted. I was going to paint something, and next thing I know, there's a Warhound Titan in my hand. I'm trying to hit it with it.
Yeah, and then you're being like escorted off the premises by 2 burly security guards.
Please.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it sounds like you've got a bit of stuff in front of you, which is good to know. As we said, we're going to hold you to the whole work in progress on the Facebook page.
Well, like I said, I've kind of so like even I've even stuck to my my New Year's resolution of I will not play a single game until I paint the army. And even on Christmas Day, when you're like, oh yeah, just play a game, I'm like, nope, not playing.
Yeah, so look, I think I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I've got a ton of stuff I've got to paint before the first Balonian event, which is on the 27th, and we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But I've got a 10-man Balonian Terminator squad sitting on my desk here. Most of them are built. I'm just waiting on a few. I didn't buy any chain fists for the Cataphracti guys. So I've got to do that, and I'm waiting on a couple of plasma blasters, and then those guys will be built up and ready to go in for some paint. And I've also got a 10-man Seeker squad with every type of combi weapon you could imagine waiting to be put together over here. And they're sort of a cool kit bash of the Legion recon dudes with sort of Alpha, like some of them have got Alpha Legion heads. I'm going to give them all, so all of them have got like one arm that needs a shoulder pad, like one arm's molded to the body, the other arm's separate, and I'm putting the Mark III shoulders, so like they're a little bit bigger, almost so they can kind of, I don't know, hide behind it a little bit more. It gives them a bit more of a beefier appearance. They don't just look like recon marines with swapped heads. So
Okay, cool.
those are going to be my seekers. So I'm going to try out a 10-man squad of those.
Yeah, that's all right, man. So, like, I was gonna, like, we'll come to it a bit later. I was gonna jump into it now because you already mentioned it. Like, what don't you like about the headhunters?
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I guess we can talk about the headhunters. I can't put my finger on it, but I just feel like they're a little bit too. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit too ornate for Alpha Legion. I love the shoulder pads. I love the helmets and I love the chest pieces separately to each other. And I'm going to get some and then like spread the parts out through my army. But I think if you put them all together, and I was sort of playing around the other day because I ended up buying obviously some of the Alpha Legion heads and I actually even got some of the torsos. And I put a guy together just with blue tack that was an Alpha Legion head, Alpha Legion torso, the embossed shoulder pads, like just a Mark IV guy. And he looked so overdone.
Okay.
So I sort of thought, not the biggest fan of that.
See, you know what? I really like the shoulders. I like the chest plates are, they're scaled. They're hydras. Like that's fine. I'm cool with that. The double combi bolters I love. Like I just want like a set of them just for my guys because they're awesome. It's like, what do we need to do? We need more firepower. We'll just like weld one bolter to the bottom of another bolter and then just walk around like that. But yeah, the heads are the only thing that are weird. Like I think it's the teeth that come off the side of the head. I think it does it for me. Like, if these guys were just like normal helmets with like pretty much like oversized targeters over one eye, which some of these guys do have that, like, I'll be happy if they just got rid of just the weird teeth aesthetic they have on the helmets.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's like they're looking out of like a snake's mouth, which is
That's it.
it's kind of cool. But the other thing for me is that I don't think that I don't know Alpha Legion isn't that ornate. I think is the word I'm looking for. Like to me, like Alpha Legion are more like special ops operators in today's world, like camo cloaks, utility and function. That's how they come across to me, not like super stylized body armor and helmets. But then again, like they are pretty cool. One thing I was just thinking actually about those combi bolters, Rob. How
Yeah.
mad would they look on like Tartarus pattern Terminators?
Oh yeah.
Like just,
Just
just
like
like
just
just like one-handing them, like just fucking blowing people away with like over bolters. That'd be mad.
just no shit scary and just like walking around just like pop 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 pop.
Yeah, no, that's
You,
that's
you,
awesome.
You know what like it would look really good if you sort of mash the Headhunters kit with the more Dayton Strike Squad kit. Like you even just use their helmets, especially if you're going to be running say like Mark 6 armor or something like that. Like you're not going to run the shoulder pads from them because they're all covered in wings and stuff like that. But if you just took the helmets and maybe the camo cloaks off them and attached them to the Headhunters, I think they'd look a lot more the part rather than what they do now.
Yeah, actually, that was one thing I was thinking about doing. Actually, was picking up some. Hang on, I'm just gonna pull them up here. Okay, yeah, I was actually gonna pick some of these guys up. Because obviously, as I was saying, my Seeker squads have all got the camo cloaks because they're the recon dudes. Grabbing 5 of these guys, and it wouldn't take much just to shave them back, like shave the stuff off the legs of them. Switch the shoulder pads over for just plain shoulder pads, or maybe some of the ones out of the Headhunter kit. And then like there's more poses for my Seekers, and they're in Mark 6
Yeah.
armor, which is another armor mark that my army uses, which is pretty cool. So they might be, I don't know, a second Seeker squad down the line, because I think I'm gonna start running an army that's going to be a transport heavy army. So I want the option to like run a whole lot of guys in rhinos, and Seekers with combi plaz, combi melter, and combi flamers jumping out of rhinos is friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
So thinking something like that. Just having a look. What else Well, I guess we're doing new stuff, so we may as well just keep going on the new stuff.
Yeah, we might as well just jump straight into it. Actually, no, before we go into the new stuff, we might as well say congratulations to those people who won the Primark draw. So,
Oh, yeah, totally.
a couple of people have gotten in contact with us, but there's 2 that haven't talked to us yet.
Yeah. Have you got the names? I'd completely forgotten to mention that, so I didn't bring the name list.
hang on, I should have the spreadsheet. Yeah, here it is. It's in my sent files. So congratulations to our 5 winners. Here we are. And this is the old one that I sent earlier. So no, sorry, I don't have it. So guys, if you haven't seen the winners list or you're unsure who actually won, go to the Facebook page. There is a video. Watch it, and it will tell you who won.
Okay, give me a second. I've actually got it written down here. I found it now. I just had to open it. Okay, so the winners of the Primark comp, and if you haven't sort of seen what was going on here, so the Primark comp we ran for most of December and sort of January. We were a little bit late drawing it, about a month out.
We keep getting screwed around. We keep going back and forth, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Just real life, I guess, gets in the way of things. And we teamed up with 2 commission painting studios here in Australia. So Maelstrom Painting up in Queensland and Brush with Destiny Studios down here in New South Wales. Both awesome, awesome studios. If you haven't seen their work, find them on Facebook, give them a like. And if you need anything painted, definitely ask those guys because it's top-notch work. So what we decided to do was give away 2 pro-painted Primarks. So... Jesus Christ, Rob, what the fuck are you doing?
Sorry, I'm just rummaging through my box of bits and trying to find my bases. Go, keep going.
Jesus Christ, stop playing with your fucking dick. So the two main winners were Andrew Hackett, who has won a Vulcan painted by Maelstrom Studios, and Gus Smythe, who has won a Perturbo painted by Brush with Destiny Studios. Now, Gus has gotten in touch with us. Seems like a really nice guy from Texas. And Andrew, we're still waiting to hear from. So if anybody knows Andrew Hackett, or if Andrew, you're listening to us, and I hope you are, mate, can you just drop us a line on the Facebook page or an email at theloadeddicecast@gmail.com, and we'll organise that for you. We also decided to be really nice because we're a bit late with the video, and we drew 3 runners-up. So Andrew Hollis, good friend of the show, Andrew Hollis, won a signed audiobook from Black Library. Another guy, Tom Blanchett, won a second signed audiobook from Black Library. Now, we haven't heard from Tom, so if anybody knows Tom Blanchett, or if Tom, you're listening, can you please get in touch, mate? And then the final runner-up was Ryan Cruz, who I was talking to yesterday, and he's won a limited edition Forge World miniature, probably something like a Navigator or something like that, which is pretty cool. And Ryan, I think, is from Florida, from what he was saying to me, which is pretty awesome to know that we've got fans and listeners over there in the USA that are, entering competitions and liking what they're hearing every so often. So
yeah,
thanks everybody.
That's my thing.
Yeah, I think that's about the safest way to put it, right?
Yep.
So look, we will run more competitions. I don't know if they're going to be sort of as massive and as awesome as giving away pro-painted Primarks, but we can definitely find some good stuff. And I think one of the really cool things is in the past when I've won miniatures in events and whether tournaments or painting comps or whatever. Well, sorry, that's a lie. I've never won a painting comp in my fucking life. But other hobby-related things, we get miniatures. Sometimes it's that really cool kick to sort of get you started on a new army or something.
Yeah, just give you a bit of just to push you in the right direction sort of thing. Like if you've got something that you can see, you really want to play with it, but you've got nothing to sort of like play it with. You're like, no, I need to do this so I can play with this awesome miniature I currently have.
Yeah, so hopefully some of those guys will be starting new armies, or these are possibly the the cherry on the top of the cake to finish an army off, which is pretty awesome. So without further ado, let's jump into the new stuff. So we'll start off with Forge World because they've been doing a fair bit of stuff in the last week. So we talked about the Headhunters at length.
Yep. We also saw the release of the Cataphracti upgrade kit. So one of them is just a set of arms with power axes, pretty much. Which, like, I don't mind. Like, for power axes, they're like giant chain axes, which is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. They're just power axes. Like,
Can I just blow your mind here for a second, Rob?
You go ahead, man.
So these are literally the kits that have been out for like 3 years. They're not new kits,
okay.
dude. They're just made to fit with the plastic miniatures.
Yeah, that's what I expected. But like, But why did you not just take the chainsaw teeth off and just make them pure power axes?
I reckon they look awesome. Like, I think there's a brutality to Cataphracti armor. that just suits these gigantic. And like this is what I've got on my Lernian Terminators because they're all armed with power axes. So these are the exact axes, which is why I know that they're the same kit basically. And like they've still got like all the power weapon stuff on them, and I think you'll like it doesn't look like a chain blade to me. It looks like it's just big and brutal, and it's got power, and it's just got power running to it, or something like that. Maybe like it doesn't. To me, it doesn't reciprocate.
Whatever, it's just my sake. I would just take it off, just make the maxes without blades. That's fine. Yeah. And the other one we saw was just the Cataphractii upgrade kit. So if you want to run one with a Reaper autocannon, you want to run a guy with some power mauls, you want to run them with thunderhammers. Yeah, you got some upgrade kits down.
So is that the? Cool. I'm just having a look at it. Is this the one that's got the power fists in it? No, this is purely just like the special weapons and the thunderhammers and stuff.
Can I ask you a question? Have you seen anyone actually run Terminators with power mauls?
I've seen one or two people do it, but when asked, they're basically like, "Oh no, it's actually a thunderhammer. I just prefer the look of it to the hammer."
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, cool. Because I keep seeing them. I'm like, why would you ever bother running one? You might as well just run a power sword at that point.
No, it's for the concussive. It's actually not the worst idea. Hang on a second. I've got the red book in front of me. I just want to check how many points it is.
Let's be honest, most things you're wailing on, like with a big squad of Terminators, there's only a couple of guys out there that you're really going to be worrying about, them having more wounds. Like you're jumping a squad of characters, you're jumping some fire drakes or something like that. Most things you're swinging out, you don't give a shit about concussive because you're just going to kill the model anyway.
Actually, you know what? This is okay. So you know why people take it? Why? It's because they don't cost any points. So on the Legion Terminator squad, the war gear is a power weapon. So it's whatever's shown on the model, and when you go to the melee options, you've got Power Fists, Lightning Claws, Chain Fists, and Thunder Hammers. Obviously, Power Fists and Lightning Claws are 5 points. Chain Fists and Thunder Hammers are 10 points. Pairs of Lightning Claws are 15 points. So I guess like it's not the worst idea mixing them in there because what are your choices? You can take Power Swords, which they're not a terrible option. But,
I just prefer the power sword just for the straight improved AP option. That's all I'm going on.
Yeah, like there is that, but to me, I would take 5 points and take if I want AP3 Lightning Claws, and you get the shred with them.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Or 5 points, you got a power fist. It just depends. Like I very rarely see termies with power swords, like sergeants. But I guess the other thing is that there aren't really a lot of power sword models going around for Terminators, if that makes sense.
It's usually just a lot of power fists, yeah. Power fists, chain fists, and thunderhammers, that's about it. It's some power axes, like if you see them. But yeah, like, whatever, like if you run them, like, let me ask you a question. If you run Terminators with Thunder Mauls, Mauls guys, and you run them actually as Mauls, can you tell us exactly why you do it or what the actual sort of thing is? Is it because your meta's currently like heavy in Solar Auxiliary, so you're just wailing on guys in Carapace armor? Or it's just simply you like the aesthetic, or they do a particular function you really enjoy? Just let us know.
Yeah, like it's the sort of thing, like I'm sort of thinking about it now, and I'm like, well, if I had just a standard Legion Terminator squad, I might, like, say, 10 guys, right? Maybe one guy would get a power maul so that there's another concussive in there that's not costing me 10 points. But I think you're right.
Kill.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a very... maybe against, like, if you had, like, a Mechanicum heavy meta where you had a lot of multi-wound, but then again...
And things are only running, like, 4+ saves sort of thing. And you just,
like, stuff like Thalax, they've got 4+ saves. But even, like, whacking, like, a bigger Automator with them and, maybe dropping the initiative, so instead of being initiative 2 and cutting your Terminators to pieces, they're attacking the same time as your Power Fist guys. So I could definitely see there's a reason for them, but... I haven't seen a lot of them in the wild. So, yeah, look, definitely, if somebody's running a lot of those, let us know exactly how you're finding them, because I'd be interested to hear what's going on.
Cool. We also got from Forge World, we got the armor upgrade kit. So these are just simply your Mark II to Mark VI armor patterns, just simply designed to take the bolters. Again, these ones simply, the bolter just attached at the wrist.
Yeah, so I haven't, like, I'm looking at these guys at the moment and just looking at what I've got on my desk. And to me, some of the poses have changed. Like, some of these guys, some of these guys are actually, like, one, maybe two in each set is a new pose, or maybe it's just a different angle, but they look like they're a new pose to me,
Okay. Cool.
um, which is kind of cool. And look, they've got they're missing that hand. And I'll tell you what, like at the moment, because I've been building this Terminator squad, and I bought them just before everything changed over, I've had to buy Volkite charges, right? Which you've got to cut the handles off. I then had to buy the combi bolters for the Cataphracti, cut the hands off the combi bolters, stick those to the wrists, then put the charges on top of them, and it's incredibly fiddly. Like it takes ages, and you got to like try and hold the tiny little fist that's left there onto the rest of the model and all that sort of thing. So I think there's definitely a good thing that they're going to molded hands on weapons.
Yeah.
Which is very cool. But look, definitely, if somebody's got any of those and they've sort of gone through and checked all the poses out for the legs and that sort of thing, can you just also, once again, let us know? Because I'm not going to be buying any more of these guys for a while. I sort of stocked up recently for no reason. So I'm good for Power Armored guys for quite a bit.
Cool. What else do we get? If you missed out on the Isfahan Black Books, they're back on as a limited time offer for £195. So I think Andrew Hollis has got all of these.
Oh, there's quite a few people I know that have managed to pick all these up.
But these look, in the flesh, these look really nice. These are a really nice thing just to turn up with. Even just have on your bookshelf, they just look awesome in the actual like black leather finish sort of thing with like the silver edging on them.
Yeah, look, it's definitely something. Like I need to go back and sort of fill my collection in again. But they are incredibly expensive. Like those 3 books is nearest makes no difference, £200 worth of book.
Yep.
And that for us out here in the colonies is what, $400 or so. That's that's almost 2 Couth box sets if you buy it from a decent retailer, right? That's a lot of Forge World stuff. So I can kind of understand if, they're not flying off the shelves when they've also got the red books, but definitely they're nice to have. We've also got...
This is the problem like these kind of books now face, is the fact that some of what's actually contained inside these books is now obsolete and has been replaced by the red books. Probably the simpler thing for Forge World to do is simply take these books, strip out all the rules, and just have like just a big fluff collection for Isfahan, and just say, here's the Isfahan, trilogy, appendium or something like that, and just have it just as a pure fluff book without any rules. Because, like for instance, book number 1, we had the Moritats, and then you had them being FAQ'd, so you fired double plasma pistols, and you're overheating on doubles now, so you still need to go and refer to other books with these.
Yeah, look, I guess if you're buying these books as well, you're not using them as gaming aids. Like you might, like maybe the books that have got the campaign systems in them and stuff like that. But for the most part, you're probably also rocking the red books, and you're probably also rocking Battle Scribe or Quartermaster on an iPad or an iPhone. So yeah, but look, definitely worth a look in if you've got some extra money laying around. They did. Forge World's done a couple of limited bundles, so we've got a book 4 plus a Knight Castigator. That's £225. So, guys, you do save a little bit of money on these. It's not a huge amount, but if you were thinking on picking a Knight up and book 4, may as well do this, I guess.
That's cool.
There's a Solar Auxilia and book 4 as well, so you get a Velataris Storm section with Volkite charges, you get a command section, and you get an infantry tertio. The Lasgun section, so that's £225 as well. So once again, if you're thinking about starting up a Solar Auxilia army, this is actually pretty awesome for doing that. Definitely worth a look at. And they're limited edition, limited time offers, I guess. They're sort of like changing over their bundles every couple of months now. So if that's something you want to do, maybe jump on it sooner rather than later, or else it'll disappear and you've got to piece it together.
Fair enough.
We've also got we've got some new transfers that have dropped. We spoiled these, probably back before Christmas, I think. So this is
let me ask you out of these, Andrew.
Yep.
Which one is your favourite?
This is really hard because I actually reckon they're these are another okay. All the transfer sheets we're seeing out of Forge World now are just fucking amazing. Like,
Yep.
there's no two ways about it. They're all great. Um, these three are particularly good. Like, I really like these three. Um, I think I've got to be a little bit obvious and say that my favorite's the Death Guard transfer sheet because I'm actually going to use this for my Death Guard army.
Cool.
I'm going to get in there and do some. I'm going to order one, get in there, do some transfers, and I really love like the Death Guard stuff. Is just it looks brutal. It looks heavily industrial, big scythes, big brass sort of stuff on it. I love the the banners that you get. I'm just looking at them
Yep.
now, and there's one that's got two giant scythes like over the top of this skull, and it just looks amazing. There's also all the little Death Guard scythes over skulls, scythes over hourglasses. Everything's there that I kind of want for that army. So yeah, for
Yep.
me it's
Cool.
the Death Guard. What about you? Which one's your favorite out of these three?
Okay, so out of these three, the Death Guard one is probably my middle ground. The Iron Warriors one is no Iron Warriors. Iron Hands is Iron Hands. There's not a lot there. It's a lot of Iron Hands, like pretty much, like pretty straightforward. My favorite's actually the Salamanders. Not the
Yeah,
fact that
no,
like I really like the Salamanders, but there's nothing too crazy about the Salamanders. There are Drake heads, there are crossed hammers, there are flames. But the big thing, and this is where I think some of these transfer sheets is like the one thing is sometimes the banners are just a bit crazy for what they are. The Salamanders one is a flaming Salamander's head and a flaming hammer.
yeah, I'm actually I'm a
Go.
big fan of those two banners on this. And the other thing that's really interesting is if you look at these banners compared to the ones on all the other transfer sheets, these ones aren't rectangular. Like it's just the picture. So I'm wondering whether at some point the Salamanders are going to get a character that's a standard bearer, and it's not going to be a standard, like it's not going to be like a square shape or something.
Yeah, it's going to be a particular sort of it's like almost like a like a sort of like a weird sort of rectangle sort of thing or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. And there's some very cool. One of the big things about the Salamanders is they've got this big section that's all like names of tanks and dreadnoughts and
Yeah.
stuff. So there's some cool stuff in there like
There's
Prometheus Fire.
there's Hesiod, there's Promethean Fire, there's Unyielding. So it's all like the flame names that you see amongst the fire drakes and things like that. So if you want to emblazon that across like the front of their shields or something, or as you said, you want to put it on the side of a tank or put it on in front of a dreadnought or something like that, it'll look really, really good for bringing that person and giving them like a name sort of thing.
Yeah, which is very cool. We've also got the Night Lord's Etched Brass. So this one's kind of interesting. This is one of the this is the more obviously the most recent etched brass we've seen, but it's also got a stencil around the edge for doing lightning. Now I have a feeling that lightning's probably for tanks and drop pods and whatnot. And then if you look closely at the rest of it, there's also a whole lot of Nostraman runes. It's like the Nostraman alphabet around it as well. Now I'm not sure if those are stencils, like they don't look as cut out as say the lightning does, but
they look
you
like
could
just like almost like an adornment for the brass sort of thing rather than what you said. Like,
yeah,
that'd be really, you know what, if that was like a proper cutout and you could sort of just keep this, and if say you wanted to put one of the characters, you just pretty much put it over and like with your airbrush and just do a quick airbrush and you can actually get that symbol, that'd be fantastic. But looking at how, if you look down at the bottom right where it's got the Horus Heresy Night Lords Games Workshop stuff, it looks like the same sort of cutout sort of face as the symbol, so I think it's just unfortunately attached to the etched brass frame itself.
But if you're, if you're a little bit engineering, you could take a sharp scalpel and you could actually cut the letters out because the etched brass is pretty soft. So if you had a sharp enough blade, you could cut it out, and then you've actually got a stencil here. The other thing is that most of these runes, when you look at them, they're a series of straight lines with like slight curves in them. So you could very easily just use it as a just a reference, a point of reference to paint them onto your miniatures pretty easily. Then you've obviously got the winged skulls, which is the very sort of 80s metal stuff. And then down the bottom there's some cool things. There's a whole lot of hands, which are very cool. That's something that turns up. Like, it's like that bloodied hand sort of look, which I think is like an old gang tattoo or something like that from
Nostromo.
yeah, from the Nostromo. I think like one of the big gangs used that was their like main tattoo or something, and they've carried that over onto the armor, which is very cool. We also have two more transfer sheets. Now these ones came out a little bit earlier, but we'll have a look at them anyway because we didn't cover them in the final episode. So the first one, and this is one I've been waiting for frigging ages, is a Solar Auxilia transfer sheet. Now this one is really, really cool because you could pretty much buy this transfer sheet, right? Even if you're playing a Legion army or Mechanicum or 40k or whatever it is, because a lot of the stuff is just cool symbology. So what we've got here is, you've got the Spartan helmets, like the Hellenic crested helms. We've got horses, like really regal-looking horses, bulls' heads. We've got scorpions. We've got stylized Eye of Horus's in sort of like a compass. We've got talons.
You've got a bit of everything, but I think the biggest thing, like, and this is something that I think it's probably the first one I've really noticed on this transfer sheet, is you both have loyalist and also traitor stuff to put on, including even the banners. Like when you look down the bottom, you've got two that are Imperial Eagles, and then one in the middle is definitely like an Eye of Horus. So again, if you're playing like a traitor Solar Auxiliary army, you can just slap that banner on, use some of the iconography that is, of course, Horus related, and go nuts. But if you want to play the loyalist, you've got all your stuff you need for that also.
Yeah, which is really cool. And once again, there's like a ton of names for tanks and vehicles down the bottom, and then a whole lot of the different icons for doing just last section guys shoulder pads and storm section shoulder pads, which is very, very cool. So I'm hopefully going to pick up one of those as well. And then the last transfer sheet that we've got from Forge World is the House Maccabeus. Maccabeus,
whatever.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
So this is, if anybody's seen, well, hopefully you've all seen it, the Forge World painted Knight Castigator is a Maccabeus Castigator. So all of his icons are the ones that are on here now. They're a traitor Knight House, so there's a lot of stylized Eyes of Horus. They've got crossed hammers, a lot of like pennants with raven wings and things like that on it. A lot of kill markings, and
are these guys out of book 4?
Yeah. These were like one of the big houses in book 4. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I haven't read most of book 4. That's why I don't recognize this stuff. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, and they're famed for sort of like a like sort of the check, like not so much checks, but sort of like a line with arrows across it, or like dashes across it that go across different armor plates and section them off. So you get a lot of that, as well as like some big quarter checks and those sort of things. But I really love, if you look at the there's 4 very big groin banners there with like kill markings all over it, and they just look fucking awesome. Like I really love those. So
it's not really good. And even like some of the tabard stuff you can mount off weapons and stuff like that. This one looks really good. If you just want to run a night house mode, not everything, like there is, looking at this, there's quite a lot of stuff which is, obviously emblazoned with the symbol of the Eye of Horus. But there's quite a lot of things that don't actually contain a lot of that. So if you just wanted to run it for a basic night house, you could too.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's the cool thing about a lot of these is, and the guys at Forge World obviously know this. Some people are going to go and pick all of them up because they want to pick and choose little things from everywhere, and that's completely okay. And then there's obviously stuff that's branded Trader, stuff that's branded Loyalist, and you can just do like mix and match to your heart's content. It's fantastic.
Yep.
So that's pretty much all the new stuff from Forge World. We've got some stuff that we spoiled from the 40th birthday celebrations as well. So the cool stuff that came out of there, and this is going back close to a month, is we had more Mastodon pictures. And look, I just can't wait for the Mastodon. I just think it's going to be like one of the coolest things, and it's going to shake up it's going to shake the meta up as well. I have a feeling it's going to be such a widespread vehicle, and because it's like a super heavy transport, I think that's just going to change things. It's going to be kind of like the Spartan on fucking steroids.
Yeah.
And we still don't know exactly what the rules are, but I can imagine there's going to be some crazy shit that it can do.
Oh, it's
We
going to do something.
saw,
It's going to do something. Well, I think you were like prophesizing that it was going to like plow into a building, open up, and then guys can like run through it.
yeah, well, that's basically what the fluff that's been released is that once it's done transporting its guys, it turns into kind of like a fortification or something. But it's like a siege weapon. It like drives into shit, then like triggers the melter on the front, blows the shit out of like walls and in emplacements, and then like disgorges a whole lot of like pissed off fucking post-humans into somebody's face. So that's very, very cool. I can't wait to see one in the flesh. I can't wait to buy one, actually. I think I'm definitely going to be picking up a Mastodon.
Oh yeah, I think everyone's just wait. I think everyone's currently like frothing over their keyboard every Friday night, waiting to see when it drops, just to go
Oh shit! Yeah,
pre-order, buy now.
yeah. We also saw the cover for Book 6 Retribution. That's got an awesome picture of the Knight Atropos on the front. So that's the next book coming out that's supposed to have a whole ton of Rites of Wars, the Blood Angels stuff in there, the White Scars stuff, and so on and so forth. Really looking forward to Book 6. Actually, if there's anything that's got me, super excited for 30k, is seeing the front cover off that book.
Yeah,
So
I'm really waiting for that. I think it's probably the next big thing that everyone's waiting on again. Like you said, like the Mastodon will shake up the meta. When Book 6 drops, people are really hoping it's really going to shake up what's currently going on. Like with the introduction of the last remaining legions in there, those people who will finally sit on the fence are going to jump off and get into the game. It's going to drop rules for just about everything. Again, we've already seen the fact that Garrow will be in Book 6, so we're hoping that you'll get other agents of the Emperor, and you're probably also going to see agents of the War Master coming with it too. Now, are they going to like completely shake up the meta? Like maybe, you never know. But it's going to bring a whole bunch of new things to the game.
yeah, like I'm just super keen to see like the fluff and the armies in there. To be honest, like this is the awesome thing about 30k, and I know there's so many people that will agree with me on this. Is that like Forge World books have always been amazing, so it's just so cool to see like what the studio guys are painting up for it. Like the battle scenes that they do are just fucking amazing, and they're just like one photo can just kickstart like an idea or get you motivated again to play and paint heresy stuff. It's just awesome. And honestly, I think that's something that Games Workshop proper has sort of lost a little bit in the last couple of years.
Yeah, they've kind of like fallen off the bandwagon, haven't they?
Yeah, you know how like we've talked about in the past, like you get a new codex and you look at it and you're like, holy shit, the painting in that, like it's tabletop standard. It's maybe even a bit better than tabletop standard, but it's not like heavy metal style stuff.
Yep.
And there was that whole thing about, we want to make it more accessible and not scare people off and sort of, make people depressed. Whereas like, I think the reality is it's the opposite. Like if you see amazingly painted stuff, and this happens on Facebook and forums and all that sort of stuff, you see somebody do some amazing work, like like Dave's stuff, the work in progresses that I shared the other night. I see stuff like that, like especially his Death Guard stuff, and just go, holy shit, I can't paint like that, but I want to paint like that. So I start painting. I start playing around with new techniques, jump on YouTube and watch stuff on weathering and like powders and oil paints and all sorts of things, and have a go. Like it's enough to sort of push me out of a rut and sort of go, shit, yeah, I want a hobby again. I want to play more games and just fucking, heresy, 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 heresy. So
yeah,
that's what sort of pumps me up about a new book coming out. We've also seen that there's going to be 2 new red books. So we're going to get the updated Istvan Campaign Legions book this year, which is going to be like the old Istvan Campaign Legions, except with probably all the new rules in it and stuff, which is going to be good, all in one place. I'll pick up a new copy of that. The other one is...
Yeah, the other one... Go ahead, man.
So the other one is the Crusade Imperialis book. So this is going to have... Well, I think this is going to have Solar Auxilia and the Cults and Militia list. Is that correct?
Probably. Look, if it's going to be combining, like don't see them any point in them releasing just say a red book for Solar Auxilia, because it will just be a very, very short. But if they release it with Cults and Militia, they release it with the Solar Auxilia, and also with the... What am I missing?
Maybe the Knight list, perhaps.
Possibly the Nightless Titan there, like it would be a good book for someone to go and pick it up. Where like if you're going to release a red book for Solo Auxilia, then you're going to release one for Cults and Militia, then you're going to release for Knights. It's like, why are you going to release 2 books and you just kind of bind them into one and just make one super overarching book? So yeah, we do expect that kind of thing to come out from there. What else did we get? We also got the an upgraded weapon arm for the Warlord Titan. So I'm going to probably go on record and say it's the Plasma Blast Gun by looking at here with like the giant like plasma cooling cells and everything running all the time. It looks like let's be honest, like everything that's come out from the Warlord so far has been fantastic, and this is no exception to it. It's just a gigantic plasma cannon, pretty much.
Yeah, and the other one that also got spoiled was the other Warlord arm, which was the giant like claw fist thing with like the massive like double bolt cannon, like Punisher bolt cannon. Like,
hang on, let me go and see. I think it's called like the Antioch like Power Scourge or something like that. Hang on, I'll find it.
It's definitely not the sort of thing you want to see if you're going to like a proctology exam, but you know, like on a heresy battlefield, it looks fucking amazing, and I love like the details of the pistons that like pull the fingers backwards and forwards.
Here it is. So it's the Ariok Titan Power Claw. So you know, it's a D weapon. It's AP1. It's melee. It's +1 attack. It's a machine destroyer. So if you roll awesome. if you roll a 1 on the destroyer table, guess what? You get to re-roll it.
Mad. So like the really cool thing is like I can't wait to see somebody like do a Warlord Titan with like 2 of these, like 1 on each hand, and then just like massive like shoulder mounted weapons, and it just goes around like picking up super heavies and just like fucking punt kicking them like away. That'd be just fucking awesome.
Do you remember the old rules? I think it was out of like the Kestrel Novum book where you had the Gargant and it had like the lifter drop. You could just pick up tanks and throw them around the table.
Yes. That's the sort of thing I want to see is like a fucking Warlord that just picks a Baneblade up and just like fucking snaps it over its leg and then just pegs the pieces back at the other army. That'd be so good.
Well, we are coming up to Super Bowl at this point, so it's just going to like Hail Mary it down the field like into a pile of paddles or something.
That's it. Yeah. So that's pretty much everything out of Forge World for news, rumors, new stuff, all that sort of thing. There are a few things from Games Workshop proper that are worth mentioning. So one thing that I saw, which actually kind of got me pretty happy about Games Workshop and the way they were going, and something that we haven't seen for a while, but I think they might have finally got it right, and it's going to do good things for the 40k hobby, and that is these new starter sets that they've started releasing. They started coming out, I think, a bit after Christmas, or maybe there was even 1 or 2 before Christmas, and they're called the Start Collecting ! And it's Start Collecting Space Marines, Start Collecting Necrons, Start Collecting Demons of Nurgle, and they're basically starter sets. They're all $140, and to give you an idea, the Space Marine one comes with a Terminator Captain, which is the that guy that was supposedly limited edition out of the Ultra Strike Force thing from a few years back.
Oh yeah.
So you get him, which is pretty cool because he's a mad model. You get a Tactical Squad and you get a Dreadnought, and that's $140. So you're saving a fair bit of money in here. I think let me just quickly price this out. So Tac Squads are $60 now. The Dreadnought's probably $80. The dude in the Terminator arm is going to be like $30, $35, maybe more.
So you're probably saying $15 pretty much.
Let
me do this. Hang on. I'll go in here and I'll do it for you.
And there's probably and when you go through them, so if you look at something like, what do we got here? Let's have a look at the Skitarii one. So in the Skitarii one, you get a Boxster Rangers, you get a Magos, and you get a Dune Strider. So that's pretty good because I think the Dune Striders are $85, $90. The Magos is almost a $50 miniature, I think, and then you've got $50 or $60 into the Rangers.
So here you go. So hang on. So the Dreadnought, the Venerable Dreadnought is $74.
Yep.
And the Tactical Squad is $65. So you're actually, and that's not, so you're pretty much getting a discount on that, and you're pretty much getting the captain for free. So you're actually saving.
You're probably saving $50. Like
Yeah,
over the whole thing, saving
you're
50
pretty much not
bucks.
paying for the captain, yeah. So you're pretty much supposed to paying for the tax squad and the dreadnought, and then the captain is pretty much free.
Yeah, which is that's pretty good. Um, and as I said, when I look around, like I think some of them are going to be better than others. Like if you look at the Tau Empire one for 140, right? You get the limited edition Ezreal that's running around on the top of the shield drone.
The
You
hub
get
cap.
Yeah, on his hubcap, you get a unit of fire warriors, which you can also turn into breaches. You
Yep.
get three crisis suits, and then you've got 8 drones.
Yep.
Because you get the drones out of all that sort of stuff. So that's pretty cool. That's a nice one. The Skitarii one I said.
Oh, and did you read the fact that when you buy this set, you actually get the exclusive Ethereal Honor Guard formation rule set?
Oh, seriously? Like you get rules with them as well?
Yeah, well, this tower you do.
Oh, that's pretty well. Actually, it depends. Like, part of me hates the fact that you can pay money and get extra rules, but then again, that's what we do when we buy a codex. So,
Yeah,
how
pretty much.
different is it, right? Not to mention we have the internet, and they're probably already on the internet.
I'm just going through and seeing which ones actually get stuff.
Yeah.
I think all of them do. The guard do.
Yeah. The demons of corn one is pretty good as well. You get like a blood chariot, 3 blood crushers, and a unit of bloodletters. Which isn't too bad. I think there's a few on the second. No.
So actually, it's a space. No, it's actually just the 2 demon ones don't come with extra rules, and they actually specifically say, please note this box does not contain a rules formation from World Decay.
Oh, there you go. But then again, I guess you can use those for like Age of Sigmar or Fantasy or whatever else you're using demons for.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
I actually like this because you're getting a decent amount of value, and they're not like the other cool thing. And this is something about putting rules in the box is somebody can buy one of these boxes, right? Like somebody's new to the hobby. They go, oh, I really like Tau because they look like anime, or I really like Nids because they look like aliens. So I'm just going to buy this Nid box for $140 because I'm like a 15-year-old with no money, or that's a birthday present or something like that.
Yep.
Nearest makes no difference. Same sort of price as like a PlayStation game, right? Give or take
cheap, man.
I don't know. I haven't fucking played a PlayStation in a million years, but it's a bit more expensive than a computer game. You've got rules in the box that you can take this and go, well, I don't have to add anything to it to use it and use it on a tabletop. I bet if you went through and you looked at the rules that came with it, they will almost all be pegged at a very similar points value.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this now, and I'm thinking that it's probably about 350 through to 500 points.
Take a give, yeah.
Something like that. And you can buy it and just start it off, and it's a proper starter box set for an army, and you can build on it. And when I look at this, like if I was going to play Space Marines, you're going to use tax squads. The Captain and Terminator arm is probably the one thing in that box that you may not use all the time, but you're going to use Dreadnoughts. They're not bad. Yeah. They're pretty cool. You look at the Necron box set, you get a Lord, Scarabs, Warriors, and you get a Triarch Stalker. You're going to use all that stuff. The Demons of Nurgle is probably one of the best ones. You get 3 Plague Drones. I think a Herald. Is that a Herald in the front of that box? Yeah, you get a Herald.
Yeah, Herald. Yeah.
You get a bunch of Plague Bearers and a bunch of Nurglings. All stuff you're going to use in that army. The Nids one is awesome.
The Nid one, like, I gotta admit, like, you get a Hive Tyrant and 3 Tyrant Warriors, but it's been a while since I've actually seen someone run like units of Gargoyles.
I see it all the time in the data sheets that came with the Winged Hive Tyrant. So
the Skies or whatever the hell it is.
Sky Spitter Swarm or whatever it's called, I can't remember. But yeah, so you've got to remember that you've got wings in the box for the Hive Tyrant, and it wouldn't be hard to source some wings for the Warriors.
Yep.
And then you've got, a whole box full of wing dudes for, probably $140, and then, you're probably $10 into finding some wings for the other guys. you look at the Imperial Guard box set, you get a Lehman Russ. Well, Jesus Christ, I don't know any Imperial Guard players that don't want more Lehman Russes in their fucking army. You've
Yeah, I
got,
know.
a standard unit of guys which you're going to use. You've got a heavy weapons team which you're going to use, and you've got a commissar, and they're all things you're probably going to use. So
Yep.
I like them. I don't see any of these box sets as being dumping grounds for models they can't move.
Yeah, there's no, there's no scouts, there's no biovores in the Tyranid one, there's no Bespin in the Tau one.
That's it. And I think it's, I don't know, for some reason when I saw these on the website, I just went, that's cool. Like, I really like that. And look, I remember, like, I've started armies off the back of starter sets like these. Like, my Noise Marine army from 4th edition was started off the back of an old Chaos box set. My Imperial Guard army was the very first Cadian battle force that came out. I went and picked like 2 of those up and started from there. So I've started armies off these things, and they've always been good, but for a while they were shitty. They didn't give you enough value. You then sort of ditched most of them and went to those stupid fucking one-click bundles that didn't save any money. And we're just like, oh my god, we've got all this shit in a warehouse. Let's just fucking get it out there as quickly as possible. So, no, I reckon it's really cool to see this stuff coming back.
Good. What else we got from Games Workshop? You got some corn stuff, which I don't know if it's new or is it plastic or from fine cards
I think it's just repackaging.
Okay, cool. Whatever. So you got some corn stuff. Whatever. Not going to touch on that. You did get a new Horus Heresy. Is it an anthology? Yeah, an anthology. So you got the War Without End. So for $40, you get probably 10 different short stories out of it, which never too bad.
Yeah, which is pretty good. Like this.
Some of the short stories like really good. Like with a bit more fleshing out, they could just become full-blown novels. But yeah. I think they've just left them short just to simply express a simple point in time, or to express an opinion, or to like explore a character and then just move on, rather than just sitting there and writing a whole book about how this one like White Scar guy did this, or this one Dark Angel guy did that.
Yeah, there's also definitely, I guess, the economics of it is that, like one book with 10 stories is a lot cheaper to produce and put out than 10 books when, there may not be enough to write about them. Like they might have hit the limit of what they could write about that one sergeant somewhere in the fucking heresy, right? He's not important enough for a whole book. The only thing that shits me a little bit, right, is I still buy a lot of paperbacks. Like I do a fair bit of traveling these days with work, so, I'm always in and out of bookstores and airports. And, like I bought a Star Wars novel a couple of weeks ago. By the way, it's Aftermath. It's the one that goes between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. It's the start of that series. Terrible book. Like, just rush to get it out there. The story's not bad, but the actual, like...
Writing is terrible.
But you see, like, the writing's not even that bad. It's like there's a lot of spelling and grammar mistakes. Like, it hasn't had a proofreader go over it, like a copywriter.
Oh, okay. They've just got it in Microsoft Word and just gone print.
Yeah, exactly, which is a real letdown. But that was $30, and that was a large-scale, new release book. So that's the most expensive that it should really be. These books are $40. I'm sorry. At that point, I'm actually starting to think maybe I wait for the digital version.
Yep.
So yeah, like for me, it's just one of those things. It's like it's maybe a bit too expensive for me. But I'll probably buy it down the track. Maybe when a bookstore, that's holding it somewhere around here puts it on sale.
Cool. We also got Codex Cadia. So for all of those guard lovers out there, when everyone cried about needing doctrines and particular armies, Games Workshop has answered with its own codex for Codex Cadia, which in essence is just taken all of the additional guard stuff that's come out, some of the books, so the ones that came out in Redwire Rising or whatever it was, and a couple of other ones, and it's just mashed them together into one sort of like super codex. I actually bought a copy of this, so in one of the next podcasts, we'll go through it, we'll talk about what's actually in it, so we won't cover that too much.
Yeah, like I once again, this is something that's made me pretty happy to see it, but at the same time, I know they're not going to continue it out onto like you're not going to get Codex Valhallans or anything. It's just
Yeah.
it's just one place for all those extra rules that have been popping up in different supplements. Although that
Which is a consolidation. It's a 40k red book.
Yeah, exactly, which is cool. And then I guess the other really big thing that came out was we've sort of seen some photos of 13th Company Wolfen guys over the last few weeks.
Oh, yes. Maybe you want to talk about them.
Okay, so German Dogman, basically, because the leaks, once again, were from the German White Dwarf. Now, I don't want to touch on the rules because I haven't had the chance to go through and translate everything. So all I can go through is basic stats, which are just not worth it without the special rules. And they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've got 7 special rules and then like unique special rules on top of it. So let's wait till we see it in English. What I want to talk about is the models, right? So they're going to be plastic because that's all the Games Workshop works in anymore, which is cool. So they're going to be plastic. But
that was cool.
Okay, so the first guy we're going to talk about is Captain Fabulous Pants. Okay, so Captain Fabulous Pants on a Friday night gets out his skinny power armor, wrestles his legs into them, his little wolf legs into them, and then fucking struts that shit out there. Goes for some can dancing, a few drinks with little umbrellas in them, and he has a fucking fabulous night, darling. Now, the thing that fucking shits me about this guy is his pose is fucking retarded. If he doesn't play can dancer, he looks like the fucking kid out of the Karate Kid standing on a pylon doing the fucking crane.
Yeah, you just wait for him like to snap to like a fly or something like that. Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
And then on top of that, right, the one leg that he's got standing on the fucking ground is on a rock. Jesus
come on,
Christ.
man. Hey, look closer, man. It's a rock with a skull on it.
Yeah, and then on top of that, right, his fucking cheapo cut-price Wolverine claws are made from fucking ice.
Man,
like, holy shit, these guys have been in the fucking warp for like 10,000 years. We were hoping they were going to miss out on like the fucking bullshit ice shit that like the Space Wolves are doing in the current edition of 40k, but apparently not.
Come on, actually, man, listen, they're going to have something known as like warp ice or something like that. Which is even fucking stupider than the last stuff we've seen.
Don't even fucking start. So
listen, man, Games Workshop listen to me from time to time, and just whatever like drunken bullshit I come up with, they're like, yeah, we just gotta like do this.
So the guy behind him that's got the hammer, right?
One that looks like? Is this the one that looks like he's about to tip over?
Yeah. Okay. So he looks like Cher, right? His fucking hair is like Cher's hair, right? For starters, which is just fucking. I don't know. I can't even comprehend it. But on top of that, right, all these guys have got this really weird fucking power armor that finishes at their knees with like little knee pads on them. So they all look like fucking either gridiron players or like really hairy guys that have stolen their girlfriend's Daisy Duke fucking jeans. It's fucking terrible. Like,
Alright, let's stop. We're not going to continue talking about these fuckwits because they're ridiculous. Listen,
no. Sorry. I want to talk about one more.
Alright, which one is the shit one?
Okay, the guy up the back that is either juggling snowballs, which
holding a mirror?
Yeah, juggling snowballs, checking his makeup, or reciting fucking Shakespeare to a skull. I'm not sure which one it is, but I'm really interested to find out. All I can say is that I wish I had have kept my Wolfen miniatures instead of selling them a couple of years back.
Oh, thank God.
I fucking bet they would now be like $500 a miniature.
I know. Listen, look. You remember the day. I remember the day when Black Crusade came out, and there were Wolfen. And what were the Wolfen? They had some slight upgrades, and they were usually just Space Marines who had mismatched like Chaos and Space Marine armor because they'd been in the warp for 10,000 years, and they'd had to scavenge shit off dead Chaos Space Marines. These guys are just, what the fuck were they thinking? It's, okay, so we've got some bullshit ice claws here. As you said, this guy is doing the can, he's doing his Melbourne Shuffle, I don't know what he's actually doing in the front. Guy with the shield is tipping over because he's way too, like, left-hand heavy. Guy in the back with the mirror, I can't even make the guy out in the back, and probably it's a good thing because I'll just get the shits about him.
That's it.
And Axe guy on the right is probably the most quote-unquote normal of the lot of them.
But you know the thing is that we can't see what's on the front of the Axe guy, but he's probably got some gigantic fucking, like, I don't know, wolf crop top or something on.
Oh, something fucking terrible.
Like, it says
Look,
go
listen.
or something.
Look, let's keep going. Look, when we get some English rules and we get proper like 3D images,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
come back
to
and we'll
it.
talk
Yeah,
about these
that's
guys.
it.
But at the moment, I'm seeing a word they're just fucking terrible. Like, I'm just not going to talk about them. Off we go.
Another big
All right,
thing that I want to
Yep.
talk about and bring up, because this is something that we saw over the last week or so, which, like those starter boxes, got me super excited. And these are the Warhammer 40,000 build and paint kits. Have you seen these?
Oh yeah, the baby's first rhino.
Yeah. So what we've seen, and I'll read you guys the basically the marketing material. So it's got its own little title, which is called Tiny Plastic Spacemen. And it says Games Workshop Build and Paint Range is a fantastic way of introducing young people, ages 8 and up, to modelling in the exciting world of Warhammer 40,000. Glue, brush, paints, and decals are included in every box, allowing you to build, paint, and decorate these exciting models. The Build Paint range is manufactured in the UK and features our most iconic characters, heroic space marines, and ferocious orcs. So there's 3 price points, right? These are all in US dollars. So there's a $15 box, a $24 box, and a $39 box. So you've got Space Marine bike and an Orc bike, Space Marine land speeder and an Orc truck, and a Dreadnought, and I think it's an Orc... Oh, hang on, sorry. A Space Marine heavy assault team and an Orc mob, which I think is like, you get a couple of like Terminators and stuff.
I think it's Ard Boys. Hang on. I think it's Ard Boys. Yeah, so you just get some boys in heavier armor. Yep. Okay.
Now, what I've heard about these guys from the grapevine out there, and the really cool thing is if you actually look at these, they're like scale model kits. They're all on, so the Space Marine stuff is all made from blue plastic. The Orc stuff is all green plastic. And you get those tiny little plastic paint pots, some little glue and all that sort of thing. So, as I said, everything's in there. You can just rip it open, start painting and building. These are very cool because I think one of the big problems that Games Workshop's had with 40k, Fantasy, Age of Sigmar, all of that is the horrific price points, as well as the fact that they're not getting people in young enough into the hobby. So this is cool. This is like competing with other scale model kits. So, like say you're a dad that plays 40k, Heresy, Age of Sigmar, Fantasy, whatever, and your son's like sitting there pestering you to play something, you can, like he might be 8, 9, 10 years old, something. You can buy him one of these kits and he can sit there and paint next to you. So I think as a marketing thing, it's a good idea. And anything that sees more people coming into the hobby is also a really good thing. And I think this is going to do it. I think if they do this properly and they get it out there and they get it into enough things like toy stores, mainstream hobby shops, not just selling it out of Games Workshops, I think it's a really good way to try and get some more people in the door at a fairly realistic price point.
You know what I'm actually really... You know what I'm really excited about? If you jump to the one where it's actually got the images of the orcs in the middle of the screen...
The Deathcopters?
The Deathcopters are coming out in the plastic kit. They're no longer... You're no longer like paying $30, $40 on eBay for one Deathcopter. You can now actually buy them.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, look... That's really cool. Once again, we'll keep our eyes on it and just see whether it takes off. Now, one of the other interesting things is if you look at the box art, it actually says mock-up on it in really faint letters, so I imagine the box art's going to get a bit of a change-up. But these are something that's definitely on the way.
The terrible, like, second edition, like, Orc truck sort of stuff that's all still on it.
Yeah. All of those say mock-up on them if you look really closely. So it just really depends. But I think that's cool. As I said, anything that gets more people into this hobby is something I can get behind and support. Sure. So look, that's pretty much all the new stuff, all the rumours. And I think that's almost pretty much what we're going to do, go over tonight. So the only thing we haven't done is the questions from the Vox segment. So if there's nothing else, Rob, I reckon we could probably kick on with the questions from the Vox and then wrap the show up. Yeah.
All right. Do you want me to lead off?
Yeah, if you want to go first.
All right. So unfortunately, we have had a lot of... Let me refresh my page. Sorry, for some reason it's decided my computer decided to get super janky for some weird reason. All right, there we go. That's probably because I've been wheeling down through the Facebook page and definitely looking for those images of baby's first truck. So Jay, who is a bit of a friend of the show and a constant thorn in Andrew's side with his...
Let's not call him a friend, okay? Let's not call him a friend. That's just going way too fucking far, dude.
Come on, I think me and him, like every like audience or every like event we go to in camera, me and him circle each other waiting for a game, and then we just end up getting matched together. We're just like, oh, we can't play. But
And then
Jay, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, and then you head off to the bathrooms together and do
Yeah, that's
God
it.
knows what. Yeah.
Rub and tugs in the bathroom, man. You know that. So Jay's first question is, what do you think Vulcan, Sigismund, and all the Fire Drakes and Templars are drinking down to drown their sorrows after being slapped around by suzerains at the ACT of Heresy? I actually went and had a bit of a look what they'd probably be drinking, and to dull their shame, you can't get much lower. They're probably just drinking Passion Pop, and they're probably buying it for 6 bottles for $28.50 down at Dan Murphy's.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that it's all in paper bags, and they're sitting on a park bench somewhere in Dixon, ACT, and swinging that stuff.
Vulcan's got his arm around Sigismund, giving him a bit of like, foster father to son advice sort of shit about how to deal with fucking Dawn and all his bullshit.
That's it. So if we sort of there's actually quite a few ones here from Jay. So a question that I think covers Dave and Jay's, which is whether it's possible to assemble 3 Storm Eagles in a day. No, it's not, actually. It's completely impossible to assemble 3 Storm Eagles in a day, so don't try.
It's pretty much impossible to assemble 1 Storm Eagle in a day. You pretty much need to spend a week like molding, heating, changing that.
Throwing it at walls, breaking it.
That's it.
Okay, Chris Clarkson had, what would you like to see for the upcoming Rites of Warp of Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and White Scars?
You want to go ahead, mate?
Yeah, look, I think we've covered this one before, but look, Blood Angels, I want to see something that's fairly close to being standard Codex, well, not Codex because it's 30k, but standard Legion organization, and then like a switch gets like flicked and they go just fucking insane for a little bit, and then they flick the switch again and they come back to being calm. Yep. Dark Angels, I'm not too sure. Like, I'm not the biggest Dark Angel fan in the world at the moment, so it'd be interesting to see if they split the wings up.
Yeah, I actually want to see like the different wings. Again, we know about the Raven Wing, we know about the Death Wing, like everyone knows them, like nothing special there. But then you get things like the Iron Wing and the Dread Wing, and there's 2 others I think that come out, and you never really hear anything about them. Like the Iron Wing seems to have something to do with like tanks and stuff like that. The Dread Wing we know nothing. So I want to see something that sort of focuses on those additional wings. And the White Scars, look, White Scars, you can't go wrong. Just
jet bikes. Yeah, jet bikes and land speeders is what I want to see from White Scars, and I want to see them doing some cool stuff. So hopefully that answers your. Running down, we have a couple of questions from another good mate of the show, Heresy Enthusiast. How do you see the New South Wales ACT events developing during the year? Well, look, to give you guys another bit of a sneak peek. We've got an event coming up on the 27th. The ACT guys, Andrew Hollis is running one the week beforehand for the Baylonian Crusade, but we'll be going into that a bit more in our next episode. So maybe stay tuned for that. But I reckon they're going to be... look, it's gone from strength to strength, and I think it's going to continue just getting bigger and better.
Each one has progressively gotten bigger. There's been none where we've actually seen a drop in actually attendance. Everyone has either gotten bigger to the point where, even now, me and you were talking the other day, like if things continue in this fashion, we're going to actually start looking at where else can we host them or what can we actually do.
Yeah. He also asks, how good are Rapier quad mortars with shatter shells? Rhetorical question. Yeah, they're fucking awesome. I've got 3 of them sitting on my desk waiting to be assembled, so yeah. Dave asks, how would we do an Emperor's Children army with 3 Storm Eagles? Well, first I'd down a whole lot of Prozac so I could actually get over the frustration of building 3 Storm Eagles.
Do we need to relate this back to his first question of how did you build these 3 Storm Eagles? Did you get someone else to assemble them and construct them for you? Did you actually build them yourself?
Yeah. Look, an Emperor's Children army with Storm Eagles. I would be going for... Look, Storm Eagles for me are just about big tactical squads getting where they need to go really fucking fast. And I'd be looking at something like the Angel's Wrath. Angel's Wrath Rite of War. So I'd have probably, the 3 Storm Eagles with, big units attack squads in it. And then that means you don't have to look at Assault Marines to fill out your troops. It's expensive. Like, I theory hammered that at one point. That's probably close to 1,200 points. And then I'd be looking at stuff like Xiphons, Primaris Lightnings, just having a really fast, hard-hitting force. Maybe next episode we can actually sit down and do some list hammer out for something like that. But there's some cool ideas out there for it. I know there's definitely there's a temptation for a whole lot of Phoenix Terminators or Palatine Blades in like a Charybdis with Fulgrim. That could be a cool idea for that sort of army. Goes with that theme of fast hitting, hard hitting sort of armies. Cestus Assault Rams go really well with Storm Eagles. They will cool on tables together as well. Something to keep in mind, Dave. What else we got down here? Josh Tucker, apart from what's been confirmed, what are you hoping to see at the Horus Heresy Weekender? Yep, that's right. So the Weekender is coming up fairly soon. I think later this month, maybe? Or maybe early in March. I can't exactly remember the date of it. But for me, I guess I'm probably looking forward to... Oh, it's got to be Book 6. It's got to be
definitely
Retribution.
Book 6. It's going to be Retribution. And the other big thing, like, I don't want them to keep going forward. I actually want them to go back and do things that they haven't done just yet. Things that, for instance, we haven't seen all the Primax come out that we've had released. We haven't seen Alpharis, we haven't seen Dawn, etc. We haven't seen certain Legion-specific units. And really just want to see all of that get flashed out before we start going on actually making it much wider.
Yeah, I think there's... Yeah, definitely, 100%. We've said it before. It'd be cool for them to just fill a few gaps in for us. Like, not that we're angry when they throw us like all sorts of cool new stuff, but maybe some other units in there. Maybe some specific units for, God, I don't know. Maybe some more Solar Auxilia stuff could be really awesome.
Yeah, true.
Like those medics. I don't think they've ever appeared. They got spoiled ages ago, so maybe they're going to come out on the Horus Heresy Weekend.
I wonder what happened to them.
Yeah.
Probably just being worked on sort of thing, but whatever. And the last one on the list is, what is a good list for Night Lords? I'm going to go with Kurz and lots of guys with Volkite.
Yeah, I think the key to a good Night Lords list, this one's for Connor here, is, it's Terror Assault. It's one of the best Rites of War. Kurz bubble wrapped in some Night Raptors, and then like a ton of Volkite squads is a good way to do it. But I think the other thing is maybe next episode we can spend a bit of time list hammering a few different things, because I've had some people get in touch with me and sort of say, look, what do you think about this list? What do you think about that list? I know there are guys coming to our event on the 27th that are really interested in some list ideas, so we might put a segment aside next episode and just sort of smash some of that stuff out before the events. And actually, there's two more questions that aren't off the Facebook page. These are from emails that people sent through. So Ben Argus, who I was talking about at the beginning of the episode, big shout out there to Ben. He asked us about hobbying with newborns, which we've kind of answered by pointing him to the independent characters. The other one he asked me, and this is something that a lot of Australians would know about, some Americans as well, depending on where they live. How do you spray paint in the middle of summer? How do you spray paint when you live in the tropics? The humidity is like 99% and it's like 45 degrees. Like, spray primer does not fucking work. It is a pain in the ass. You ruin miniatures and you just fucking hate life. And it's like that, 8 or 9 months of the year. My answer to Ben, and this is something that's worth sharing with everybody, is if you live up there, you've got air conditioning, right? So what you need to do is go to eBay. For anywhere between $60 to $150, you can buy an airbrushing booth with an extraction fan that is a portable one. You buy one of those. They come with a little turntable and a little box. It's like a little, pop-up thing. It's got a fan in it and like a tube out the back. The tube goes into a window. So you open your window slightly, shove the tube out the window, shut the window on top of the tube, and then you can spray paint airbrush to your heart's content in air conditioning, so it will bring the temperature up. But the most important thing for spray paints and airbrushing is not really the ambient temperatures. Like, they fuck with stuff, but it's not that bad. It's the humidity. Most air conditioners will dry out rooms. They dehumidify. So that's what you want to do, is you want to have it where it's a bit drier, which is going to be inside in the air conditioning. That being said, it's a bit of a pain in the ass having to do it that way. And it's also still worth using a face mask if you're going to be doing that sort of stuff inside, even with the extraction fan on. Yeah, and
Yeah,
definitely don't do it around kids.
yeah,
Kids
we've had that instance
yeah.
of just like spray painting inside without masks on. By the end of it, you're like, yeah, I think I need to go and like lay down for 5 minutes because my head's
Yeah,
currently feeling about to fall off my
you're
shoulders.
seeing fucking you're seeing fucking leprechauns and yowies and shit running around the place. So yeah, so look, that's all the questions from the Vox. Once again, thanks to everybody for sending stuff in. If you want to get in contact with us, Facebook is great. Probably the fastest way to get in contact with us. You can send us emails at theloadeddicecast@gmail.com. We'll answer those back. Or just like comment on the wall and whatever goes on. We always put up a questions from the Vox post before we record on our recording days.
Yeah, cool.
So, Rob, is there anything that we've missed this episode? We're trying to make it a bit of a shorter one, and then we've
Just
sort
remember,
of
just probably the main thing is remember, guys, that we have the Babylonian incident coming up on the 27th at the Games Cube at Parramatta. Again, even if you can't play, you just want to come down, you want to have a chat, you want to see what's going on, you want to learn a bit more about the hobby, come down. We're always going to be someone going to be around that's going to give you a run through of what's going on, have a bit of a chat to you, probably get you interested in the hobby. And look, if you want to play, look, just get in touch with us, reserve your spot at the event, and we'll see you there on the day.
yeah, and it's definitely worth noting that these spots are actually filling up pretty quickly. So at the last event, we'd basically tapped out the all the room at the Games Cube as well as all the terrain and all the tables. So we know that once we hit, how many players did we have? 26?
26, yeah.
20, 24, 26, something like that players. That was pretty much the limit. There might be one more table after that, so we can probably go to about 28 people. So it is filling up fast. So if you want to come along, get in touch with us. Go to the New South Wales 30K Horus Heresy events page that we run, and you'll find the players pack and the sign-up stuff there. Now, at the moment, we're not asking people to prepay for our events, but depending on if we keep getting people, like a lot of people in, and we have to start saying no, from probably the next event on, we're going to have to start asking for prepayment to them, just so that you can secure your spot and nobody gets left out or missed because somebody goes, yeah, I'm going to come along and takes a spot and then doesn't turn up.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, enjoy your week, and we'll see you. Well, you'll hear from us in probably another fortnight.
All right, guys, take care.
See you later, guys.